Who is in the Illuminati in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Chances are, when you think of the Illuminati, your first thoughts are of a shadowy council of all-powerful lizard people that secretly control every aspect of modern life. And while I can neither confirm nor deny if that is in fact the case, lately we've all been thinking of a very different Illuminati. Namely, a council of all-powerful, presumably non-lizard people who secretly control every aspect of modern life coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, we're going to break down everything you need to know about Marvel's secretive supergroup that we see in the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in just a moment. But if you prefer to read all about it, Eric Diaz has you covered over on Nerdist.com. However, to talk about this, we could potentially spoil aspects of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, so if you want to go into this movie unburdened with knowledge, now's your time to leave. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? So in the Multiverse of Madness trailer, we see Stephen Strange in handcuffs being escorted by Ultron sentry bots before a council of people swathed in darkness. Now, it's one of the biggest sources of speculation about this upcoming film, but before we talk about who could be on this version of the Illuminati, it's important to contextualize their comic book history. So, the Illuminati have loomed large over the Marvel Universe for nearly 20 years now. Created by Brian Michael Bendis and Steve McNiven, the Illuminati first appeared in 2005's New Avengers number 7. The concept was this group of high-powered, all-important individuals had secretly been meeting to shape the course of events in the Marvel Universe ever since the events of the Kree-Skrull War, which unfolded from 1971 to 1972 in the pages of Avengers 89 through 97. Now, formed by Tony Stark, the original group consisted of Prince Namor of Atlantis, Black Bolt of the Inhumans, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, Professor Charles Xavier of the X-Men, and Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Over the years, they decided to blast Hulk into space, which had disastrous consequences for everyone involved. They tried and failed to use the Infinity Stones to destroy the Infinity Stones, and they led the charge on trying to stop impending multiversal war in the lead-up to 2015 Secret Wars. So who's in the MCU's version of the Illuminati? Well, based on what we see in the trailer, they seem to be a formalized version of the Guardians of the Multiverse that first assembled in What If to stop Ultron's reign of terror. They're clearly some sort of governing body dedicated to preserving the fabric of the multiverse, and presumably each member comes from their own unique reality. Mordo brings Strange Prime, the main MCU Doctor Strange, to stand trial before a group of people cast in shadow. And based on what we see in the trailer and clues on the official poster, we're fairly confident we can identify several of these members. We hear a familiar voice and see the back of a bald head, and we can confirm for a fact that is Sir Patrick Stewart returning as Professor Charles Xavier, even if he doesn't want to in an interview.
I was just at home waiting to watch football, so how could it possibly have been me?
Whether this is the same version from the Fox X-Men movies or a new multiversal variant remains to be seen, but he's very clearly a member of this version of the Illuminati. However, with that said, persistent rumors about more X-Men appearing in this film and a glimpse of what appears to be Deadpool on the poster have us thinking this movie might not just bring back some fan favorites, but explain how mutants will make their way into the MCU at long last. Now, the next character we can confirm as a member of the Illuminati is Baron Mordo. Not only does he bring Stephen in to answer for his crimes against reality and fight Strange in the Illuminati audience chamber, but if you look at the person walking across the raised dais, he appears to have a similar staff to the one that Mordo carries. Now, side note, this could be the staff of the Living Tribunal, which we saw him wielding in the first Doctor Strange movie. Next up, we see a broad-shouldered figure in the shadows, and this could theoretically be any number of characters, but the muscular build has us thinking this could be Peggy Carter's super soldier variant, Captain Carter, who we first met in What If Episode 1. Now, adding further fuel to this speculatory fire is the Union Jack emblem from Captain Carter's uniform on the film's official poster. And on top of that, not only was she a key member of the Guardians of the Multiverse on What If, but she was also part of the reality-hopping group The Exiles in the comics. And that gives this character a significant pedigree when it comes to preserving the fabric of reality. And next up, we see what appears to be a variant of Captain Marvel battling Wanda Maximoff in the atrium of the Illuminati's headquarters in the British Museum. Enhanced images confirm that this definitely isn't the Carol Danvers version, but the presence of the Holostar symbol on the poster suggests there is a Captain Marvel in this movie. Given Captain Marvel's status and power level in the MCU, it makes sense to have one in the Illuminati, but the question is, which version is this? We know that Monica Rambeau becomes the second Captain Marvel in the comics, and now she has powers in the MCU after the events of WandaVision. However, it seems far likelier we'll see Monica's mother, Maria Rambeau, as a Captain Marvel variant who is imbued with these powers instead of Carol. With that said, many fans are speculating that this isn't Captain Marvel at all. Rather, it could be Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, namely his Iron Lad form before he becomes that multiversal menace that will next see in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. In the comics, Iron Lad is the teenage version of Kang the Conqueror who tries to reject his destiny of becoming a villain by traveling back in time and creating the Young Avengers. And if it is this boy genius inventor who's modeling himself after Iron Man and trying to do some good by helping preserve the integrity of the multiverse, that could explain a number of different things. First of all, it could explain the presence of the Ultron bots, which Iron Lad could have reprogrammed to serve the Illuminati. And it could also tie into rumors about Loki and the Time Variance Authority making an appearance in this film, given how the Loki solo series ended. So perhaps this pre-Conqueror Kang could help provide valuable information about the version we'll almost definitely go up against in Loki Season 2. With that said, as much as I love Jonathan Majors, I don't think we'll see him as part of the Illuminati in this movie. If we see him at all, it's going to be in Easter egg form, or maybe in a post-credit scene that helps set up the events of Ant-Man 3. But speaking of men in iron suits though, let's talk about another popular fan theory, namely Superior Iron Man. This version of Tony Stark had his personality altered by a superpowered Red Skull. Basically, he's all ego, zero morality, and he's playing God because he thinks he knows what's best for mankind. So maybe this version of Tony is one that succeeded in building that suit of armor around the world. Maybe he used Ultron to defeat Thanos, and that could earn him a spot on this council and explain why we see Ultron bots in this trailer as well. Now, other fans have theorized that in lieu of Robert Downey Jr., we'll see Tom Cruise appear as this particular Iron Man variant. That's because before Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise was attached to this role for a time in the late 90s and early 2000s. But as cool as that would be, I do have my serious concerns and doubt they would bring back Iron Man so soon, even in variant form. Moving on, another potential member based on the trailers is Killmonger. In one shot, we see a seated figure with a similar silhouette to Killmonger in his golden Jaguar suit. It looks like you can see the necklace he wears standing out amongst the shadows. And if you remember, the Killmonger we saw in What If was also capable of reprogramming Ultron bots, so it makes sense why we might see a version here. Moving on, let's run through a couple of the remaining rumored candidates that feel all but impossible to confirm at this point in time. First, we have Reed Richards himself, Mr. Fantastic, who some fans swear they spotted in the shadows of this trailer. And while that would make sense to include a character like Reed in the Illuminati, it's still way too early to tell. Besides, will we see a familiar face like Ioan Gruffudd from the mid-2000s Fantastic Four movies, or will this be the perennial fan casting of John Krasinski, who also nearly played Captain America back in the day? Next up, we have another potential option, a Doctor Strange variant, namely the ponytailed Defender Strange who we saw multiple times in the trailer. After all, who better to bring a Doctor Strange to answer for his actions than another Doctor Strange? The real problem, though, is going to be figuring out which Doctor Strange variant is evil because they all have goatees. And last but not least, given that this is a Sam Raimi movie, everyone and their mother are expecting a Bruce Campbell cameo in this film. Now, some rumors claim that Campbell's playing a member of the Illuminati, with Balder the Brave being held up as the chief suspect. This mighty Asgardian warrior would certainly add some pomp and circumstance to the Illuminati, and it would let Campbell chew the scenery a little bit too. This character has been a part of several rumored Illuminati lineups thus far, but in the meantime, take it with a grain of salt the same size as Campbell's chin. Anyway, folks, regardless of who joins the Illuminati, it seems like they won't be long for this world, because it seems like Wanda Maximoff is going to help liberate America Chavez, at least, from their clutches. And unlike the Illuminati, Wanda isn't taking any prisoners. For now, though, we'll just be counting down the days until Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness hits theaters on May 6th. And we'll have plenty of other deep dives, theories, and more Marvel goodness to tide you over on Nerdist.com in the meantime. For now, though, tell us, what do you think of these theories? Who do you think is on the Illuminati Council, and why? Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.